Does it make sense to buy a home in this market that we're in right now? Well, the short answer is yes, but I want to be able to explain why. I want to address the main concerns that people have to buying a home right now so you can make sure that you're making an informed decision. The first time I tried recording this, it was way too long, so I will have to break this up into a two-part series, okay? So this is part one. The first question that I hear from people is, what if I buy a home right now and there's a market crash and I end up being upside down on my home? Well, first off, if you don't know what being upside down means, it means that the value of your home is lower than what you owe on your mortgage, okay? So just so you know, experts are not predicting a crash from what I've heard, all right? If you do see articles on social media or online that talk about a mortgage crash coming, most of those are just doom and gloom clickbait articles designed to get you to read them because that's how media makes their money, by you reading their articles. So don't believe all the negative hype around that. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, that there is a crash. Let's say that you buy today and then tomorrow, boom, there's a crash and home values drop like crazy. What does that mean for you? Well, as long as you're staying in your home, you're not planning on selling it, and you make your mortgage payment on time, it doesn't mean anything for you. It's not going to affect you in any way whatsoever. It's not going to change your mortgage. Your mortgage payment's not going to increase. No one's going to force you to sell your home. You're not going to get foreclosed on. None of those things that you think might happen are going to happen. All you have to do if there is a mortgage crash, which I don't think there is, but if there will be, is just wait it out. Wait it out, because historically speaking, if you look at the data, over the years, home values always go up. They go up and down, up and down, up and down, but they go in an upward trend. So if it does dip, and you wait, eventually you'll gain all the equity back and it'll start to go back up again. So all you do is hold. You ever hear the whole term buy and hold when it comes to stocks? Just hold it. Hold on to your property and you'll be fine. So I'm running out of time, so stay tuned for part two. Welcome to part two of my video on does it make sense to buy a home right now in this market. In part one, I talked about what if there's a mortgage crash and why you shouldn't worry about that. If you haven't seen it, please go back and watch part one and then come back and watch this one. So another question that I've heard from people is, what about interest rates? They're really high right now. Wouldn't it make more sense for me to wait until rates drop before I buy a home? Well, here's one of the biggest issues with doing that and one of the biggest risks that you run. Right now, there's a lot less competition to buy a home than there was 6 months ago because interest rates are high. And because they're high, not everybody can afford to buy a home right now. So if you were to try and buy now, you have a better chance of getting your offer accepted. You're not gonna pay a bunch of money over asking like you would have to 6 months ago. And it's gonna be a lot easier and a lot less headache. Now, let's say you wait until rates drop, because we know that rates also go in an upward downward trend, just like values do. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, right? So eventually rates have to come down. Now, if you wait until that happens, what do you think is going to happen when rates drop? There's going to be a huge influx of buyers. All the people who are waiting, all the people who couldn't afford it before, all the people who got tired 6 months ago and said, you know what, I'm going to wait a while. And what happens when there's an influx of buyers? It's going to create more competition. So now you're going to be competing all over again with like 20 other people for one home. It's going to drive home values back up. You're going to have to be bidding over asking again. It's going to be a nightmare all over again. That's why I think it makes more sense for you to buy it now if you can afford it. As long as you can afford the payment, lock in that home now, and then when rates drop, refinance and take advantage of the lower payment. That makes more sense because now you're not having to deal with the headache of having to compete against all these other people, right? So long story short, to answer the question, does it make sense to buy a home right now in this market? Yes, 100%. I do believe it does make sense because home values are lower. People are paying what the home is worth instead of paying over value. And if rates drop in the future, you should be able to refinance and lower that payment as long as you qualify. Thanks for following along and stay tuned for more tips.